Okay, for you, Mr. Sohiho Hisni, time is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fata. So just to make sure, could you listen my voice clearly?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, very nice. So welcome guys to OTA community discussion. So basically this discussion is declared every week. So you guys can join this discussion with many topics that we can declare every single week. But before, let me share a screen about what we are going to discuss tonight. Okay, could you see my screen?
Yes, sir. We can see that.
Okay, well then. Wait, okay. So our topic today is about social justice, why it matters and how it can be implemented. You know, guys, this topic is inspired from what happening in our country today. There are so many some kind of policies that government made that sometimes it's not very suitable to the condition of society until there are so many demonstration, there are so many disagreements from so many academies, from so many people, many societies in Indonesia. So I think there is something wrong from what the policy that is made by the government. Why? There are so many problems and there are so many disagreements. So tonight we'll discuss about what social justice means and how to implement it in the real life, and to make sure that we can live in around society happily without any problems anymore. Well, first, what does social justice mean? But before, I'm going to show you the definition from dictionary that I got. The social justice is fair treatment of all people in a society, including respect for the rights of minorities and equitable distribution of resources among members of community. So basically, this is general definition that I got from dictionary, guys. But you guys can answer based on what is in your mind, based on what your opinion about social justice. So please, all of you who want to answer the question, raise your hand, please. We just need you guys to be active in this discussion. Okay, well, Miss Livia, please unmute your mic, then answer. Hello, Miss Livia, are you there? Okay, other participants maybe who had an opinion, who had the answers, or even what, who had an idea about the meaning of social justice. So I'll have shown you about the definition from dictionary, but it's just a general definition. Maybe you guys have a specific means of social justice you can convey in this discussion, please. Come on. Miss Livia, you raised your hand, but you cannot. Okay, anyone, please? Okay, Mr. Fatullah, please.
Yes. Maybe it's gonna be a quick opinion from a stupid opinion from me. I just want to make it easy. In my opinion, social justice terminology has two words. There are social. which mean about the relationship among the people. And justice, it could be meant as um, the law or the regulation that happens among the people. So social justice could be meant as the regulation about how human being life in the relationship. Maybe that's only my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, well, very nice. So simply, the definition is the regulation amongst humans. Very nice. Okay, well, next, welcome, Mr. Sunshine, please.
Okay, so am I audible, guys? Can you hear my voice?
Yes, very clear.
Okay, in my perspective, social justice means a different kind of justice because usually justice is something that only the highest authority that can exercise. Meanwhile, when we talk about justice in the eyes of social or society means that they have their own reason and drive in reasoning something in the way to define whether something is justified or justifiable to be done or vice versa. So, social justice can also be interpreted as a way to confront the perspective of justice in the eyes of government, for example, when sometimes it's often can be found in case when the government's unable to act responsibly toward one kind of crimes, and then society would like to do something on their behalf, knowing that the government will less likely to do or to respond that thing as fast as possible. So I can say that social justice can be beneficial and also harmful at once, since the interpretations of justice for every single part of society would and should be different. Hence, it's going to have a diverse interpretation on what kinds of punishment or the form of justice that should be given to respond particular crime or bad actions happening or rising in the midst of society. Okay, so I think that's it for a while for me. Thank you,
Well,
Mr.
very nice, very nice. So we talk about interpretation also from the social justice to the society and how government can act, uh, how they can be responsible. So it also related to the discussion of social justice, guys. So well, so let me point someone. If all of you guys do not want to raise your hand, please. Okay. Miss Wafda LR, please. Miss Wafda, can you hear my voice? Miss
Yes, I
Wafda or
can.
okay, well, so let me hear your opinion about this just social justice.
Okay. In my opinion, social justice, uh, all people deserve, everyone deserve same access. How to say access? Yeah, like that. Everyone should have equal access to wealth, to health, well-being, privilege, and opportunity. I think. Thank you.
Okay, well, so people have equal rights, have equal things in the government, in the society. So means social justice. Well, okay, next, Mr. Widodo Prastiotomo, please.
Hello, Mister. Can you hear me?
Well, very clear,
Hello.
Mister.
Okay, thank you. About social justice. Social justice, in my perspective, social justice doesn't have to be equal, but social justice is when everyone get what they need. I think that just it. So.
Well, it's very simple. Enough?
Oh, thank
Okay,
you, Mister.
enough? Okay, well,
Yeah.
okay, so Mr. Widodo said that justice doesn't mean equal. That justice means when people get what they need. So people have different perspective, but the same purpose. Anyone, guys, wanna willingly answer the question, please? We just need you to be active in speaking. Okay, Miss Olivia, please. Hello, Miss Olivia.
Hello.
Okay,
Sorry,
well,
I was back from the toilet and I forgot to lower my hand.
okay. So you
And
can answer now.
okay, so in my perspective, social justice is where all the people feel like they are being treated as the same human being in the most comfortable way, that there can be whatever they want, and they have the sense of security and equality in terms of everything in all aspects in their life, especially under the context of the government and the nation and also the society itself. So in order to create that sense of social justice, the government must decide whether the laws and the rules and the regulation will be beneficial, and there are no any part or any people that feel being being the one who lost their things because of the rules and the regulations. So the government must make sure that everyone get the same benefit. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nice elaboration from Miss Olivia. They thought that when social justice means when people get their security in society, the nation, in government, and also where the government made some kind of regulation, it will not be demerit for a society. It should be merit for a society. Thank you very much, Miss Olivia. So anyone, guys, want to have a question? I want to answer the question again? Nothing? Nothing? Well, I'll count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, well, I'll conclude that the meaning of social justice is uh, equality, but beside it also provide what people need and how government can act based on the responsibility and yeah, in every policy in the crime cases and other things. Well, it's actually the meaning of social justice, guys. So let's next. Okay. What can be affected by social justice, the country's prosperity? So actually many things that can affect the prosperity of country, but we focus on social justice. How social justice can be affected the country's prosperity in the future and now. Okay, you get the question right, guys? So anyone anyone has a perspective to answer the question? What can be affected by social justice the country's prosperity? So the country will be prosper if the social justice is implemented, but what can be affected? Okay, Miss Livia, please.
Yeah, let me imagine if the condition is very in a very perfect justice. So if the government can bring so much security and provide so many equality towards any kind of um, their people needs, and every people have the same right and the same chance or opportunity in order to actualize their potential and their skills and their opinion are always being heard of and always being considered, and they are being taken care of very well, and everyone can contribute maximally toward the nation and give back to the community, and they have the sense of belongingness and the sense of love, uh, dedication toward their life toward this country. And if all the human resources in this country or in this nation is in their maximum potential. Of course, in the future, this country will have a very high development and very good human resources in order to make the economic growth and also etc. So this is a very important aspect in order how to make every kind of people in your country feel like they are embraced to become the one in this kind of government and this kind of society. So they will do anything in order to make this country become better and better. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, if social justice is implemented, there will be many things affected a lot in economical, in economics, in social, and law, and other things. Okay, well, nice answer. Others, please. Okay, there is no one will answer, so I will point you. Yeah, so from Miss Livia's and okay, Mr. Sunshine, please.
Okay, I guess it's a little bit confusing. What can be affected by social justice means we believe that social justice can influence particular things, but this kind of particular things must be related to country's prosperity. Is it like that?
Yeah, of course. Like Miss Livia said, actually, if justice has been implemented in the country, then government listen everything from the society, what they need. You can imagine about they feel comfortable to live in this country, in this nation. So that's why this question actually inspired from that things.
I see. So yeah, uh, I reckon that it's quite impossible to expect the government will equally fulfill all the needs of the people because even in the best case scenario, when we know that the government fulfill or do their best in accomplishing what they have been promising towards society, there must be some dissatisfaction rising from the middle of society. There must be complaints over that. But to answer this question, I believe that assuming that social justice can be properly implemented and given. Um, uh, wait, because I had a different definitions towards social justice. Okay, social justice means justice that come from society, not from the government. Okay, so this is a different interpretation. Yeah, so in regard to my own perspective, I believe that social justice means that it can covers something that is left behind by the government. For example, the responsibility of the government in the middle of pandemic situation is to bring more to how to say to equip everything needs by the patients and society. For example, like giving vaccines or giving their daily life needs. But it's hardly to happen, and that's why there are a group of people from our society that would like to bring out their own justice. They doing some kindness toward people by giving something as a charity. I think this is something that can be interpreted as a social justice, and it actually can cover what is lack by the governments to be done, and what else? Uh, yeah, as I said before, in regard to the responsibility that's been neglected by the government, social justice will be the one to fill the hole. Okay, I think that's it for a while. Thank you.
Okay, very nice. So social justice means that comes from society. They can make their own social justice means not only focus on the government. Okay, very nice. Like whatever the example that have been said by Mr. Sunshine. Please let me point you guys if there is no one will raise your hand. Okay, please. Okay, Mr. Ridwan Pasarong, please. Can you hear my voice? Mr. Ridwan Pasarong? Hello? Mr. Ridwan Pasarong, are you there? No? Okay, Mr. Rafiq, please. You unmute your microphone. Come on. Hello, Mr. Rafiq, are you there? No? Okay, let me give you some kind of conclusion from two respondents of this question. First, Mr. Olivia said, we can imagine if social justice has been implemented in the country, like government can listen everything from the society state, and they listen to every particular things that people maybe have some kind of potential thing in their life. So, and government can support that, and we can imagine what will happen. So it will influence not only in the social aspects, but in economical growth, in education too, if social justice is really implemented in some country. Very nice. Anyone want to answer the question? Nothing? Mr. Miss Sinta Nurati, please. Miss Sinta Nurati, could you listen my voice? Okay, there is no one want to give their perspective again? Okay, well, so we'll continue to next. Okay, how do you think, it's quite interesting, how do you think about its implementation in Indonesia? So of course it will relate it to social justice. How social justice is implemented in Indonesia. But before, let me give you a news or information related to social justice. Okay, failures of social justice. This is the news that I got maybe several weeks ago. While pandemics, this is 11 respondents in Yogyakarta died just because they cannot access the medicine. So if we talk about social justice, it must be related a lot about this news. And then this one, okay, ICW this is about the corruption. And this one was famous, it was viral at the time about Sangihe. 1 meters only priced 5,000 from the government. And then this one, minister who corrupted versus this one, okay, mom who's selling a banana with the narcotic issues. Okay, I got it from these platforms, Narasi, and then there is also from Suara News. Okay, so what do you think, guys, about its implementation in Indonesia? Do you think it's implemented well? Okay, please, Mr. Unggul.
Well, when I gonna give the definition of social justice is when the interest of majority, it means the representative of it, in the national institutions is delivered well, of course, it has been implemented. But when we look at the case of Indonesians today, when we look at who is the representative of us in the, for example, legislative assembly or presidential, what is that? Yeah, that institution, Jokowi and his ministry. Of course, all of them, almost all of them, are coming from the oligarchies. When in the case, what majority wants, for example, today that we want A, B, C, D, but oligarchies always co-opted, always create a different interest. For example, for the little case about tax redistribution, we as a majority wants more to tax the rich, for example, to redistribute the wealth, but they, oligarchs, they need less, right? We can see the case that little things, it should be taxed, but the expensive things, there is no tax, right? So of course, in that case, I see that social justice is not working well here because our representatives or our mass movement from the bottom up is so, I call it, what is that? Weak, right? So we need more of creating the social movement to represent social justice. Without it, it is impossible. It should be from bottom up. It's impossible to be top down because in the top, always oligarchies that always create opposite direction in what the majority wants. That is, I think, my opinion. Thank you, Mr.
Okay, well, very nice. So it related also to what oligarchy works in Indonesia or in the country. So how he said that Indonesia still cannot implement social justice very well. Okay, next, Miss Livia.
Okay. It reminds me of how vicious cycle is this kind of social justice problem. So let's say that what Mr. Aji, Mr. Unggul said and Mr. Sansan said before, it is true in some ways, but how we can get out of this kind of never-ending cycle? Because when we talk about the social injustice that happening in Indonesia, we cannot decide whether it was come from the government first or whether it as the representation of the social injustice from the society itself, from the citizen itself, because some of the government, they are created by some of the result of our choice also. It is not 100%, so many manipulation contributed towards this kind of political choice, but a lot of choices are come from the citizen itself. So let's say when we give a lot of protest or demonstration toward the government works that is very very bad, a lot of corruption and etc. But can you guarantee if you are the one who gonna exchange their position and you get all of the power and all of the access toward doing this kind of corruption, you will not do it at all? I barely sure that anyone that always protest about corruption will not do the corruption itself if they have the chances. So it is like a vicious cycle. And also why I cannot share that the social justice must come from the citizen itself or the people itself, not from the government, because we feel like unconsciously we are like imitating what the governments already did toward us, like in a bad way or in a negative way. We also imitate this, even though we know it is wrong. For example, like about taxes. Can you imagine why a lot of people outside of our country, in the foreign country, they are really obey the government regulation about taxes, and they rarely wanna do the cheating or wanna make some manipulation about the taxes amount they should pay, they have to pay, because they think that the government is very considerate towards their needs and towards their uh, development in their country at its best. So they really think that the government will corrupt the money and take the money for themselves in order uh, to make they such feeling wasted their money. So in the other country, the government really give back the taxes towards the what society needs and the public facilities needs. And in Indonesia, why so many people want to cheating on the pay taxes? They want to avoid taxes at all costs until they have to hire a lot of smart accountants with a high salary just to make the taxes went down. So it's because the government is corrupted. So if the government will not corrupt it, they can guarantee that the money that come from the taxes will be back to the society itself and for the benefit to the society. They will pay the taxes obediently. I'm pretty sure about this. So it is must come from the government, but it is also from the feedback of the society itself. We must together end up this vicious cycle. Thank you.
Okay, well, so to implement social justice in Indonesia, of course, we need some collaboration, some great collaboration between society and also government. Okay, very nice. Next, Mr. Marshine, please.
Hello. Well, so I also want to commend what the Mr. Unggul mentioned before when we trying to blame the oligarchy in our countries as the parameter of social justice. Yeah, I do agree with the statement of Olivia last time that oligarchy is also our society. So without the oligarchy, we cannot do anything too. It will try to make a big problem, especially in our nation. We will try to decrease the national budget and any certain of money because of we don't have the oligarchies in the situation. Because don't forget, oligarchy also gives social justice for the people that because they open many job fields, how to make millions or millions people can get a job, so they can get a prosperity with this situation. And also, if we're talking about the tax, yeah, we should try to increase the tax. It's not a good solution too sometimes because it's like the countries like Indonesia in the situations. Yeah, we still need many investment. Could you imagine if the tax is so high? Sorry, could you imagine if the tax is low in our country? So of course, it will try to make big problems. One of them, it will try to make many investor doesn't want to invest in Indonesia. So it it hap- it happens right now when many oligarchs and many investors they prefer to invest their investment in Singapore in this situation because Singapore is one of the countries that legalize one of the regulation that called by tax haven that make many investors interested to invest their investment at there. So could you imagine until today there are 1,200 trillion Indonesian investment in Singapore because the tax in Indonesia is so high. So this is the reasons that sometimes if we try to mention that Indonesia or the government think or help oligarchies in this situation, my answer is not because many oligarchies too they don't feel comfortable when they invest in Indonesia because the amount of tax that Indonesia implemented right now. But the problem is, yeah, sometimes it's talking about the corruption that has been mentioned by Livia before, because it's talking about between regulation and the implementation doesn't fit. Yeah, it's like what happened the several months ago. Our minister of social get a punishment, but until today there is no big regulation that punish him, that what that fits with the statute or the regulation in our constitution. Because in our constitution or our regulation, if there is one minister or the one people in the government did a corruption, especially in the big problem like this or called by pandemics era, they will get the death sentence. But until today, there is no the information about that. So this is the reasons that we have to fix, yeah, a kind of the problem, and the problem is called by corruption. So this is my statement. Thank you.
Okay, so corruption actually is a great problem happening in our country. So we need to fix it. Then we can maybe easily influence society to get a positive thing to the government. Hey, very nice. Next, Mr. Unggul, you
Yes,
answer
I
the
just want
question.
to,
Okay.
yes, I just want to give little comments. Miss Livia said there is a VC circle, but I just want to tell a bit story. I think it is a bit fact, but also it is a fiction. I just want to tell the Virtual Circle. When we remember the story of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, when the supporter of him is a party that is cutting the relation of money from the elites or called oligarchies, from the multinational companies, or from the or coming from the hegemony countries. When we have that organization like that as a political party and support someone as a representative, of course, the possibility to endeavor to empower or implementing the majority interest, it is more bigger, than in the usual political party that we have today. But of course, for the value that it will be given in that political decision, it is coming back to the majority itself, to the society, of course. So, but the possibility is still opening. But of course, it is easy to be said, but hard to be implemented. That is one of my comments. The second is, I remember the philosophical things. When we say about democracy, Aristotle or Plato or a lot of philosophies in the Greek era, they said it can be worked as long as most of all, people in our society are clever enough. Because democracy will not working when the full people still contributing inside of it. When we look at the case of Indonesia, it is in the academically, of course, oligarchies play an important role when we played it in when we implement democracy as our system. But because now most of us is not proper in that particular in the ideal of this philosophy, I think, of course, democracy will never work in Indonesia, except when all of us are clever enough. I think that is little of a comment.
Okay, thank you, Mr. You get an additional idea about the implementation of democracy too. You get an idea from theory of Plato or Aristotle that democracy will not work if there is still full people works or get in our system of government. Very nice. Next, Mr. Sunshine.
I do agree. I want to highlight what has been said by Ms. Livia before. When we actually granted the position as the executive, when we are given the authority, it does not mean that we are granted to behave fairly and square toward the society. I believe that this is something that I must agree, because we need to say that corruption is like how to say communal type crimes in which it needs to be done by a particular group of people. So means that when you want to behave honest and how to say just at the same time, you will be neglected, avoided, manipulated, how to say, unfairly traded by so many people around you that doing corruptions. So, in addition to that, you will also encounter with different interest because the higher the position, the stronger the win means that there will be more tempting over to shake your how to say your idealism. Okay, so everyone must follow the rules of how they being positioned as executive. Meanwhile, I'll also try to respond Mr. Marshine opinion in regard to the existence of tax. I believe that the existence of tax should be still implemented and taken from society, but something like that need to be properly done by the government, and it's strongly related to democracy, is transparency and the accountability that need to be done and given, reported towards society. This is something like, and that's why since our society unable to properly control what's been done by the government. Our society is fairly, how to say, is so poor enough to rely toward legislative, how to say, DPR, the legislative council of our society, because Mrs. Puan herself only wants to promote or brand herself in front of so many banners without considering the actual conditions of how tragic our situation is. So, all in all, what I can say in regard to this sense, this question is that uh, it's so how to say ironic the implementations of social. When we talk about justice in Indonesia, it's so ironic because the law enforcement still considerably low to be done. And meanwhile, I'd like to strongly appreciate what's been done by our society, despite despite being labeled as to show off. Yeah, for example, like when we so many times in TikTok, there are some people that would like to give something, give money, additional money towards someone that's selling something, that sells something. Okay, it's actually like showing off, but this is kind of like a positive contagious thing, positive contagious act that need to be done in the midst of pandemic. Because in general, I can say that Indonesia has been so well known as the country that's so famous with its benignity. It's how to say kedermawanan, loyal, yeah, something related to that. Because we always want to give to people that actually in need, and this is something that even though our government unable to do that properly, it still can be covered. Probably it's the influence of religions, how society norms and ethics still be imposed amongst us. Okay, I think that's for me. I'm sorry too long. Thank you.
Okay, very nice. Um, Society also can contribute themselves. They can, I mean, like they can, uh, why? They can also implement social justice, like whatever they have done on TikTok. Sometimes there are so many contents that implement or that say it or they campaign about social justice that many societies still need many things from the government actually. Okay, very nice, Mr. Marshan again.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you're trying to analyze generally the meaning of democracy in this situation, so I suppose that there is no different.
I'm so sorry, Mr. But your voice is so low.
Okay, so
Could
how about
you
this?
please? Okay, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, if we try to analyze deeply about the meaning of democracy in this situation, I suppose that there is no difference between democracy and also jungle system. So, what the meaning of jungle system? Who is the strongest one? So there will be a leader. It's like what happened in jungle with the strongest one that is lion. So lions will lead what happened in the jungle itself. It's almost same in the country when we're trying to implement the democracy situation. Of course, the oligarchies will be a winner in this situation. Sorry, do you hear my voice right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so this is the reason that sometimes in the nations uh, the political interest, yeah, in our country is not in our country, but in every nation we have we have it, right? So this is the reasons that sometimes, we need to remove is one of the bloody system that called by parliament threshold. Yeah, parliament threshold is like if you want to become a leader, so the party will should support you in that situation, how to make you can be a candidate of um, probably to become the candidate of governor, mayor, or a president. So this is the reason that sometimes to join with any parties, you need a lot of money. You need a bunch of money. We can say that to join with governor, for example, you have to pay more than 5 until 10 or 20. Sorry, yeah, 20 billion in that situation. Could you imagine? Yeah, who can be a leader in that situation when we don't have money? So what kind of the system it is? So the people that can become a leader, of course, the people that have a lot of money, and that is the tiger that we mentioned before. So this is the reason that I just want to propose you have to remove the parliament threshold if we want to get that social justice itself. So the, so the all of the people in Indonesia, even though they are the ordinary people, they can become a leader. They will have their own perception how to make the ordinary people also is like them to get the prosperity in this nation. So this is my statement. Thank you.
Okay, so we can call it as money. Money is everything. So that's why related to Mr. Ungu statement said that still so many full people work or involved in our government. That's why just because money can do everything, sometimes people who have a good ability, good capability in leadership, they cannot be a leader just because they have no money. That's why it's what happening in our country today. Anyone, guys? Okay, anyone give an additional statement, please? Miss Genada Asaika. Hello, Miss Genada Asaika. No? Okay. I think there is no one.
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Marshan, you raise your hand again. Okay, if there is no one respond this question again. So let's continue to the next. Okay, so this question is actually inspired also from what happened on Twitter. Sometimes so many people labeled themselves as social justice warrior, SJW. So how do you guys consider that people have enforced justice? It's not only for the government, but people. Okay, how do you think people have enforced justice? Or we can call it, how do you consider people are suitable to be called social justice warrior? Please. Okay, please, Miss Livia.
Actually, there is no such a fixed explanation about how to decide whether these people is um, really a social justice warrior or just showing off or humble bragging themselves as one of them. But if you can see what the people did or still doing in their social media or in the real world, they striving for others people, um, others people problem about the injustice they have to face. But it's not only about themselves. If because a lot of people will struggling for their own injustice, like their own problem, but not so many people that want to striving for another's people problem, if they wanted to do it and sacrifice a lot of things in order to make the other people that is oppressed getting out of the problem and getting the justice that they are hoping for, so they can be looked at one of the social justice warrior. But in fact, when people struggling for one of the thing that becoming the problem in our country, usually it stems from their own problem itself. So I don't know whether it is sincere or not, but it is cannot be seen as something negative. It is still something positive and realistic. And it's also good whenever the people have the faces social injustice from their daily life, even from the the gender, the sexual, or the economic, or the political problems, but they're willing to they have the willingness to voice their opinion out. It is really good. It makes our society become more dynamic, and it brings more power from the society to the government also. So it will not be we are such a like with such a silent reader, or just a you know ignorant citizen that doesn't really care about the problem that's in our country, but we are actively when struggling out from this kind of problem. And also they have to understand about the moral decency, like the basic moral decency, in order to, if you can understand about this kind of moral decency, you can help the other people. If you still not understand this kind of moral decency, and you don't have any critical thinking about this, so you don't have any open-mindedness, you cannot become the social justice warrior. This is my opinion. Thank you.
Yeah. So to be social justice warrior, we need to be open-minded person to accept and to be criticizing a policy or even some problems that happening in our life. Okay, very nice, Miss Olivia. Next, Mr. Marshine.
Yeah, well, so yeah, if we're talking about social justice, yeah, everyone has their own needs. So sometimes this country try to find the equilibrium how to make the all form will be balanced between the rich people and also the poor people, and also the simple people, or how to call it, ordinary people in that situation. So this is our big obstacle, yeah, to find that equilibrium, but it's not easy. Yeah, I just want to invite you to one of example. Yeah, when everyone has a different needs each other. One of them, yeah, what happened is several years ago when we know about one of the business called by travel agent, and right now, yeah, appear or emerge is one of the business that called by Traveloka is like and another e-commerce such as Traveloka, Blibli, and many e-commerce or travel marketplace in the situation. So yeah, if we talk about in the situation, the government has to support the travel agent and they don't support the Traveloka and friends. So this is the big problem, because between the social justice from the e-commerce sites and also from the conventional side in the situation that is different. But the point is for the people that doing that business itself. So how they can improve themselves, how to make people like their business, how to make a people enjoy with this business. Yeah, for example, what happened also this several years ago when we know about the history of industrial revolution, blah blah blah, and others. But time by time people realize that which one the good one, they will take it. So this is the reason that if we want to get the social justice, the all of them back to ourselves, we have to, yeah, we have to think about how to improve ourselves every day. Yeah, when everything is changed, so you have to be changed. Yeah, because there is no the only thing that's constant, sorry, how to say it? I forgot one of the quotes that they tried to mention. Uh, the thing that never change, oh, sorry, I forgot. The only constant, okay, this is the only constant in life is change. So everyone has to change if they want to get their own social justice. So this is the reason that from now to all of you, yeah, you have to improve yourself, you have to adapt with the situation, you have to adapt with what the people needs right now, how to make easier than they, and after that they will choose you in the situation. So this is the definition of enforced social justice based on my assumption.
Okay, some cases happen, like the example given by Mr. Marshine. There is conventional travel agent, and then e-commerce. Sometimes people think that government should support both of them, but it's of course very difficult to control both of them. So, but the point that we can implement is how the owner or even people who implement the business can make people interested in their business. Okay, nice. Miss Livia? Or other people, please be active. Okay, maybe I'll choose Mr. Robert, please.
Sorry, this is me.
Yeah, Mr. Robert.
Okay, sorry, because I've also another thing to do right now. But looking at this question, I think that social justice is not the thing that we need to do, or we don't need to do, or we don't need to enforce, I guess, because the term like social justice warrior, the thing that has been mentioned by previous speakers before, I guess it is a term popularized by same several buzzers in Indonesia, I guess, to justify or to mock several people that willingly struggle for enforcing social justice in Indonesia, because striving for social justice is a need, I think, in the middle of the society, that there are big social gap among the rich and the poor. So enforcing social justice is the need to equalize the society, I think. So someone who's trying to enforce social justice must understand firstly the need of that action, because as I said before, because of the really a big gap between the poor and the rich, therefore they're trying to struggle for it. Secondly, it's not because they're struggle for other people. It's also because they're struggling for themselves to um, make themselves more prosperous than before. Hence, if you can see that someone who's trying to enforce social justice is someone who's also improvised by this system, right? Such as farmers, laborers, workers, fishermen, etc. So yeah, they're trying to, enforce social justice because they also would like to make themselves more prosperous than before. Hence, as I said before, enforcing social justice is a need in the midst of the society that has a big social gap among people, especially between the rich and the poor. When we look at, for example, in this pandemic era, the wealth of the rich people and the poor people has changed, in which the gap is becoming bigger time by time, I guess, in the midst of the pandemic era. 1%, if I'm not mistaken, 1% people, 1% of rich people in Indonesia, their wealth is equal to, if I'm not mistaken, 100 millions of people in Indonesia. It's a big gap, I think. Therefore, people need to strive for realizing social justice. Yeah, that's my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, so considering about people who have influence justice is they who can control about their action based on what they need. Like the example how people can treat the poor and the rich equally. So it means they have enforced justice. Thank you very much, Mr. Robert. Next, Mr. Sunshine.
Just want to add a little. Regardless the intentions of those who call themselves as the enforcers of justice, I believe that even though probably the intention is to show off, but I must be proud to say that they successfully touch the feeling, I mean, the inner, the deeper side of the heart of so many people. Because after seeing or feeling this kinds of touching and emotional moments when someone, I mean, like the sellers been given much more money than it has what it has to be paid, you can see the tears that how to say dropping from the eyes of the sellers, because we've been witnessing how much suffer that we experience right now. And I believe that this kinds of emotional situation touch so many people, and thus it will empower so many people to do the same, even though with the intentions of being vital to begin with. Okay, I just want to say something like that. Thank you.
Okay, so it's very nice. It's justice in the country. So that's why from the first, the participants say that government and also society should collaborate together to enforce justice in our country. Okay, very nice. Next, is there anyone want to raise your hand? Or Miss Icha, please. Miss Ichana. Miss Ichana, do you want to answer the question? Okay, Mr. Bayu, please. Mr. Bayu, can you hear my voice? Hello? Nothing. Okay. Well, let me show you something, guys. So, wait. Okay. This is a variables of justice that I got from some seminars about social justice. First is about right. This is concerned with participle of right and wrong are conforming to standards of behavior and character based on those principles. And then it's also based on lawful, based on the law. Every justice, every actions that we have done should variable by this kind of things, equality, and also equality means the same or equal in some particular ways, and equity the state or quality of being fair. And okay, this is the examples of the difference between equality and equity. The first picture is equality. It means so they same box one. With equity, they get the fairness. They could see the field, all of them. Okay, here is the differences that should be implemented together. Okay, I think there is no one will add additional statement. Is there anyone? Nothing? Okay, let's continue to the next. Okay, it's just based on your opinion, guys. Do you think it will be optimal to sound justice in social media? Okay, as we see today, currently, many people hold their own phone. They also every day spend their time on your phone on social media. So, do you think it will be optimal to sound justice in social media? to comment or respond some problem or expressing our opinion or anything, but in social media. What do you think? Okay, Mr. Fitra, please.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity for me. I suppose that it's not well sound for me because when we talk about the optimal way, it doesn't mean that we will make a flood in the information in our daily life by sharing about the social justice, because sometimes one person could be different to the other people subjectivity. So because of this consideration, I suppose that make the fluid information by many social justice sounding by uh, standing as the social justice warrior is not quiet. Well, that is my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, well, very nice, Mr. Fitra. Then Miss Livia, please, directly.
In terms of bringing out awareness and share it massively so anyone can understand what's going on. So it is very effective because social media is the cheapest and the most efficient way in order to spread the information fastly to the majority of our citizens. But yes, it's not just stop at that thing to struggling. If you want the struggle to be real, you have to put it into a very like realistic way, not just sharing or bragging in the social media, but how to put into action in the real world in order to make some very important changing. So like for example, we have to make the movement and bring the movement into the realistic things like how to make our government change their regulation before we just bringing out awareness and um, collecting the votes from the people in order to make like a petition or the regulation changes towards the government in our country. So yes, it is important as the new as the first move, as the stepping stones towards our goal in making changes.
Okay, thank you, Miss Livia. So it's important too, yeah, to sound the justice like we collect many votes from people who every day use social media. So it was good step for us to be participating in enforcing justice. Next, Mr. Marshain, please.
Yeah. So absolutely. Yeah. Social media help us to get the social justice because without social media, you cannot do anything that related to sound justice nowadays. So many policies is changed is because of many people sounds in social media. Many policies change because many petitions that trying to attack that policy, the unfair policy, how to make the government aware uh, with that policy. And also today is one way how to campaign and sound the justice also in many platforms in social media, such as in Instagram, in TikTok, and many other social medias. So I would like to give you one of the example what happened several months ago with kind of this problem, what kind of the conflict between the courier and also the customer, that the customer use the COD, yeah, COD, how to say that, COD system when they buy something in the e-commerce. So because of the social media or many social medias campaigns with a kind of the root thing from the customer to the courier, so people right now aware with that situation. Many accounts such as Lambetura and many famous social media platform campaign it or give information about what happened with this with what happened with this problem. So until today, people understand that COD system is like this. It's not a kind of the thing that the people thought before when they have buy it in the e-commerce, so they have to pay it when that stuff arrive at home. So this is one of the example. So right now many courier it's safe, they got the social justice after many famous social media platform campaign or give a kind of this information in their social medias. So this is my statement. Thank you.
Okay, so it's the essential thing from social media people can achieve easily, or even people from one country, entire country could see just in a minute about a viral video that maybe can affect social justice, like the example from Mr. Marshan between courier and also the buyer from e-commerce. Okay, next please, Mr. Robert.
Thank you, Mr. Zihni. Um, Looking at this technological era development, in which almost no one doesn't have social media right now, um, I'm convinced that social media can be a great tool to voice the justice. There's a lot of examples that we can look at the history, such as um, last year we could see that there's um, a big movement starting from America related to um, Black Lives Matter movement. That's something that emerged from social media, right? Firstly, as you can see, there's um, a man, a black man, was killed by a police, and it was spread from the social media, and many people were aware of the situation directly regarding um, the, the torture of that man, etc. The oppression faced by Black people in not only in America but also around the world. So yeah, that's one of the big movements that emerge or appear from social media. We could also see Thailand, for example, recently Myanmar. They got a lot of solidarities from around the world. That's the thing that is conducted by social media. So yeah, I guess social media can be a great tool to voice the justice. However, in my view, it's not the only one. Campaigning from social media must be um, combined by other movements, such as direct movements or in-person gathering, for example. Because in my viewpoint, enforcing social justice must be done by the oppressed people themselves. So uh, they must create their own organizations, their own movements um, to develop or establish their own nations. However, unfortunately, in my view, our countries, unfortunately, still controlled by the minority, in which which is still the oligarch, in my opinion. Even though you are poor right now, that you are um, in the House of Representatives, for example, I think you are still being controlled by the minority, because you can see there's a data set that 55% of people controlling in the House of Representatives, 55% are from the rich, right? Therefore, it's kind of hard to the oppressed, to the poor people to legalize their own policy, their own laws. Therefore, last year, the how do we say that omnibus law were fixed or legalized. How to say that enacted or imposed by the government. Um, KPK also, KPK was also being uh, weakened by several um, people. Yeah, that's the thing that the majority must bring about the justice for themselves. And the thing that they need to do is not only by social media, as I said, but by doing direct meetings, social gathering, and also maybe like striking. Sorry, how to say that? National striking or blocking the street, for example, to share the awareness to the people to enforce the justice. That's my opinion. Thank you, Mr.
Okay, so we can also, beside in social media, we can also educate people or even socialize about social justice in the public. And yeah, what happening in our country today, like the cases of KPK in wawasan kebangsaan or whatever is that literally weaken the KPK itself, and many examples. Then, Miss Sophie, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Zini. I just want to add a little more since some points have been explained from previous speakers. I think it is because social media can reach people in wider areas. So it's not only show us the information or what's going on now and what's urgent, but it is also gives us concern to care more and act more, do something for the better. Since it is also show the number of how many likes and how many people voice it on the internet. So it also trigger more people to do the same thing. We also knew, like Mr. Angga and Mr. Martian said before, that the history has proven many situations change because millions of people show their voice. We can make a great campaign through social media. So in conclude, social media not only raise people awareness actually, but also I think it also guide us to do something. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, well, beside enforcing social justice in social media, we can also add our awareness just because of looking at so many contents in social media, showing off about their contents related to social justice. So we can participate or even we can join that kind of movements, or we can agree, we can support about the enforcement of social justice. Well, thank you very much. Okay, I think there is no one. Okay, is there anyone who will answer the question? Mr. Hu, maybe? Mr. Hu, do you have an opinion?
Sorry, sir. I'm in a crowded place. I can't give opinion.
Okay. Okay, what about Miss Suci Indah Febriande? You can give your opinion about this question. Yeah, please. Oh, yeah, I see. Miss Livia, you raise your hand, or you haven't lowered your hand? Okay. Okay, I think we're going to the next. Okay. So it's a simple question. Only from your opinion, what is a simple thing that usually happens unfairly in society? Maybe you guys have some kind of experience about unfair things happen around you in society. So what is a simple thing that usually happens unfairly in society? Okay, Mr. Fitra, please.
Well, thank you for this occasion. Maybe it's only in my assumption. I usually hear about, seems like a quote, that is the rich richer and the poor poorer. Yeah. maybe it's gonna be one of the unfairly thing happens in our society, because the rich has the connection, they can be the oligarch in a country, and they have the power to grab many things because they are rich. And the poor are always being the slave until the end of their life and to their descendants. So it's quite unfairly. So the problem is how to make the inclusion situation that everyone can fairly do their optimal work in their daily life to establish a well nation and a well future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fitra, from your opinion. Okay, well, the quotes, the poor poorer, the rich richer, and the poor poorer. Very nice quotes, where the rich have a big authorities to control what they want, to control the institution, and etc. Okay, anyone want to give their opinion, or we get to the next question because it's quite same. So I think we have. Oh no. Okay, Miss Sophie, please.
I can answer this one. A simple thing that I think I can share the recently situation that happened. I'm doing students study service right now, and in this area, the area that I live, there are few coal company that cooperate here. And the ironic thing that I saw in front of my eyes, there are some people from the students, college students, send their proposal or for money for their project to the coal company, but the project is about environment or environmental care and something for society, but they ask the money from the one who destroyed the environment itself. So I think that's one of the ironic situation that I witnessed recently. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Sophie, for your sharing of your experience. Maybe anyone ever witness unfair things happen in front of you, or even in society, that it should not be happening in the society, but it happened. Sometimes people didn't realize that this is actually unfair, but it continuously happens. Okay, do you guys have an opinion? Anyone? So what about, okay, please, Mr. Marshine.
Okay, well, yeah, it's kind of the hot potatoes today is talking about when you want to join with military and police, so you have to be virgin. Have you ever hear that information? So I suppose that is kind of the unfair things that related to join with one profession. Yeah, to become a police or military. So there is no correlation between a virgin with uh working in that place. So it's kind of the thing that happens, especially in Indonesia only. So I suppose that is one of the unfair thing that we found in our country. Thank you.
Okay, such the example, the virginity should be requirements in to be an army in Indonesia. Meanwhile, there is no relation between this guy virgin or not. They can protect the country. Well, it's a injustice or unfair things happen in our country, but it's usual thing. People didn't realize it maybe. Okay, what about Mr. Bayu? In your opinion, do you see something unfair happens in society? Please. Okay, please, Miss Livia.
Mr. Bayo is tutor from GE, isn't it?
I don't know, Mr.
Not.
Bayu, which one?
Okay. Okay. For me, what happens in my childhood is I'm a left-handed, so when I when I learn something new, I naturally will try to use my more dominant hand, like it is using the left hand. So whenever I do something, I use my left hand instead. So it gives a problem because in our culture, left-handed people or the left hand is considered as a dirty hand. I don't know why. Maybe because a lot of people like try to clean their ass using the left hand instead of the right hand. So it brings a lot of problem when I grew up, and my teacher always told my parents of what a naughty girl I was, what a naughty child I was, just because I tried to give something to them by using the left hand, like not just giving something, but also doing something like doing the exercises. When the teacher teaches us to do the right hand, using the right hand, I try to copy, but I feel like my right hand isn't as strong as my left hand, so I try to using the left hand. So whenever like I eat, I using my left hand. And the teacher always gave me a bully or negative command, and they report to my parents as it is as a negative behavior also that caused my my behavior alphabet in my report get a B not A, for example, like that. And it's continuously happening until my university life. Whenever I thought, because my degree was in psychology, I thought that a lot of my lecturer was from the psychological background. They must understand like why there are a leftist children, and how it is a very natural if you using your left hand instead of your right hand just because you are genetically was born with that kind of thing. But they still judge me whatever, like, oh my god, it is like as a toxic cultural things, and they have a toxic values that discriminate leftist person like me, and it brings a lot of bullies, a lot of disgracement towards myself, and it also significantly influence my self-esteem, and it makes me feel bad whenever I doing something in my left using my left hand, even though I totally aware that it is not my fault, it is just a toxic cultural thing, but it's still giving a bad impact towards my mental health. I guess it is. Thank you.
Okay, very simple things that given by Miss Livia, that she always used the left hand every single activities, but she got bullied just because of that. But actually, with our left hand, we can do everything too, like people do with the right hand. Sometimes, yeah, it's genetically happen for people who like they usually use their left hand. They more like comfortable to use their left hand than their right hand. So yeah, I saw many people too, but I don't know, it becomes a culture that using our left hand to do an activity like to eat or even to write, to raise our hand or everything, it's impolite for our culture. Very nice. Very nice statement and example from Miss Livia. Anyone, please, want to tell a story of unfair things happen maybe in your self? Mr. Bayu, why do you keep silent? Miss Genada, Miss Genada Asaika, please give your opinion to us. It's a simple thing that you can tell to us about unfair things like Miss Livia did and Mr. Marshine, Mr. Fitra did. They tell about how unfair things happen around society. Anyone will give an opinion? Nothing? Miss Sophie, do you wanna give an opinion or telling a story, telling your experience?
I have.
Oh yeah, serious? I forgot. I'm sorry. Okay, well, we'll get into the next question. Okay, so it's almost a finish. Does different development of infrastructural construction in a country mean social injustice? So I saw it. I saw this question related to my experience as a people who come from remote area, which the development of infrastructural construction, if we compare to let's say Kediri or even Malang, it's totally very different from my village. So what do you guys think about the different development of infrastructural construction in a country mean social injustice? Okay, please, Mr. Marshine.
Okay, so well, we shouldn't go to the several remote areas in Indonesia. Yeah, we only stay in the big cities like Jakarta and Surabaya. So what is the social injustice that happens there, especially in Indonesia? Yeah, it's talking about the facility for disability persons in our country. Could you imagine? Yeah, the several years ago, especially in 2018, I become the volunteer of Asian Para Games, and I have many friends. And they are the athlete from the other countries, so they want to go to the several places. It's like in Tanah Abang. It's like in many places in Jakarta back then. So I got a chance to accompany them to go to that place, but unfortunately, the facilities or the construction doesn't support them, especially for the people that using a wheel. How to say that? A wheel, kursi roda wheel in that situation. So it's kind of the thing that I feel touched because oh they want to go there, but there is no the supporting facilities that make them can use their chair to go there. So it makes them change their mind to go to that place because it's really difficult for them because they cannot walk. They only can sit in their wheelchair. So yeah, this is one of the example of the social injustice, especially in our countries, Indonesia. So this is the reasons that our government has to aware, because in Indonesia also there are one person, and yeah, one person's if 1% or 2% of them are still are disability persons in the situation. So this is the reasons that we need to support them also, because they are also uh, Indonesian. So yeah, this is my assumption talking about the infrastructural construction in our countries that related to the disability. Thank you.
Okay, very nice. Next, Mr. Robert, please.
Well, thank you, Mr. Zini, for the time given to me. Yes, when we're talking about infrastructural construction, it's actually one of the staggering facts about injustice in Indonesia, right? Because we are still seeing that there's some areas which are in the remote area that still have less facilities in terms of highway, health, educations, etc. While in other big cities, there's big development of that. In my viewpoint, it has something to do with the history as well. Right? When we look at our history, why there are so many developments such as rail routes, and highways, etc. It was because of the business, right? As you can see, our main routes that were built in Indonesia so far, or in history, they were built because of the colonization. Because the Dutch wanted to take several big industries from remote area to the big cities. Therefore, they built the main routes, even rail routes, etc. However, when there's some places that do not have something related to the business, the authority, which is the government, will be reluctant to build that kind of things. Yeah, hence, when we look at the history, it's related, right, to our situation right now, in which there's some places that have big industries, natural resources, they might be built proper infrastructure, while other places that have no correlation with the business, they won't be built some proper infrastructures. Hence, voicing this issue is also pivotal to our development of social justice in Indonesia and other places in the world. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Robert, for your statements, and also Mr. Marshan. So let's get into the next question. Okay, so I think it was answered from the previous question. Have you ever got injustice treatment? Tell us. Okay, we're going to the next. So what can society do to tackle social injustice from some actors in government? Please, to all of you who have an opinion. What can society do to tackle social injustice from some actors in government? Okay, Mr. Marshan, please.
Oh, actually, I forgot to lower my hand, but yeah, this okay. So one of the ways is using social media, or making many petitions. Yeah, how to make the government change that regulations to the right regulation with what people need and what people fit with. So this is my statement: petition and campaign in social media. So this is the way how to tackle that social injustice from some actor in government.
Okay, petition and yeah, social media can also work, can tackle social injustice from actors in government. Please, Mr. Robert, please.
Thank you, Mr. Zini, for the time given again. There's several processes or ways that we can do to tackle this problem. First, I guess we need to understand the problem, because without knowing the problem, we will be mistaken to tackle it. For instance, a problem related to injustice. I think it's not a problem that can be done only by or changing the actors in the government, because when the actors will be the same in the future, will still have the same purposes, they will still do the same, I think, or they will still have same supporters, same positions. I think they will still do the same. Hence, understanding the problem is the key. Secondly, I think I'm convinced that we need to share the awareness, the problems related to our society, related to injustice, because sharing the awareness is important to make all people aware of this current situation. One of the ways that we can do is by doing a thing that has been mentioned by Mr. Kibu or Marshan earlier. So yeah, by social media. Subsequently, after understanding and sharing the problems, we need to organize, because without organizing the truth, the awareness of the people, the awareness that you have delivered will be useless in the future. Hence, I could say that organizing the awareness is pivotal here to make the counter movement to tackle this social injustice, to enforce the justice. This kind of organization that we can build is like either if you are young, of course, you need to build a young organization. If you are a worker, you need to build such a kind of, a worker organizations. If you are a reporter, you need to build a reporter organization. So yeah, organizing. Last but not least is by establishing the organization or the party to make your own policy in our country, which is the party. I think it's the thing that we can do, because so far as far as I'm concerned, there's several grassroots societies that are willing and attempting to create their own organizations to do or to join the next general elections and to create the real organization to implement justice. That's the several things that I think we need to implement right now. Thank you, Mr.
Okay, thank you very much. Understanding the problem, then action and organizing what we can do to tackle social injustice from some actors. Okay, the last please, Miss Livia, because it's almost 22.
Okay, one of the new invention that I found it is very effective towards like Indonesian government and Indonesian people, because we know that Indonesian people usually they don't like a very like serious and hard thinking news that required a lot of effort to read until it ends, like a long articles of it. They don't really care about that. They just want entertainment instead of like a journal or academic journal or something like that. So if you want to raising awareness from a lot of people in this kind of society, so better you choose like the easiest way to in order for them to process the information or the message you want to deliver. Because our goal is to make the people understand and getting aware of the problem. So we can see the example from Kiki Saputri, the stand-up comedian, which is lately become a very popular because he has the ability or the skill to bring something very very serious and sensitive like corruption and a government and the performance from every kind of the rich or important people in our country like Jokowi and blah blah blah. So she make it as a funny jokes, like a little bit satire and sarcasm jokes. And one of them like very viral because she make it the content in TikTok and also in Instagram, etc. So a lot of millennials getting excited and want to repost it towards their friend because they find it. It's very funny, but it is very serious at the same time. It brings awareness until it can influence to the government and the actor in the government who did the social injustice mistake. They become realized and feel embarrassed and feel shy, and they try to like remake and rebuild the regulation again in order to make the regulation become more fair for the people. So this is a very good example. You can watch her like when she is saying the welcome to Indonesia. It is a very very popular and raising a lot of awareness about this problem. So she accidentally become very successful for becoming the warrior of social justice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Livia, for the nice statement. Which, yeah, as Komika like Kiki said, it's offense the government, but yeah, it's covered by a stand-up, yeah, stand-up comedy, by a comedy. Okay, very nice. So thank you very much, guys. So because it's the last question, I think, yeah, okay. Thank you very much for participating in this discussion, in this very nice discussion. I hope we can get the new knowledge, new perspective from all of our friends who have delivered their idea in this platform. So I say thank you very much to Mr. Ahmad Fathullah, who direct me to make some kind of PPT and the material. And yeah, let's say the last I say from me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I give it back to Mr. Ahmad Fathullah.
Okay, Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening. Yes, we have a little bit of evaluation for our speaking today, or for our discussion. Oke, di sini kita belajar bareng-bareng. Jadi ini ada beberapa hal yang mungkin bisa meningkatkan capability teman-teman dalam berbahasa Inggris seperti itu. Yang pertama tadi di awal kan teman kita ada kesusahan gitu mengenai akses ya. Kemudian sense of belonging itu rasa untuk memiliki. Kemudian ini beberapa kali ada yang mengulang gitu untuk menyebutkan kata country itu bilangnya country, nggak ada u-nya ya, nggak ada u-nya, jadi langsung country gitu aja. Habis itu ini cukup keren ya, dia gunakan in regard to, itu artinya sama dengan concerning atau memperhatikan seperti itu. Kemudian tadi juga sempat disebutkan mengenai bottom up and top down ya. Jadi ini terkait mengenai flow of information atau jalurnya informasi gitu. Kalau bottom up itu informasi itu berjalan dari hierarki yang bawah ke hierarki yang tertinggi. Misalkan staff menyampaikan unek-uneknya atau menyampaikan masukannya kepada CEO misalnya kayak gitu. Itu bottom up. Nah, kalau top down itu dari atasan kepada bawahan informasinya berjalan seperti itu. Kemudian ini kosakata yang paling sering keluar oligarch seperti itu. Mungkin ada teman-teman yang kurang memahami oligarch itu apa. Itu adalah kelompok kecil yang memiliki kekuatan gitu, utamanya di pemerintahan. Habis itu endeavor itu artinya itu adalah mencoba untuk melakukan sesuatu ya. Ini salah satu kosakata yang cukup keren dan semoga teman-teman bisa menggunakannya dalam keseharian. Kemudian ada most of us, bukan is tapi are ya, karena ini kan jamak ya, sebagian besar dari kita are not proper misalnya kayak gitu. Kemudian Dewan Perwakilan Rakyat itu House of Representatives. Generosity itu sama dengan kedermawanan atau charitable, both of them are same. Kemudian strive. Nah, strive ini mirip sama enforced ya. Jadi tadi sempat dikeluarkan juga sama salah satu teman-teman. Itu artinya itu adalah mencoba atau istilahnya mencoba sesuatu dengan sungguh-sungguh gitu, dengan keras gitu. Sama kayak enforce. Improvise itu improvisasi atau mencoba sesuatu hal yang baru. Kemudian ini tadi sempat ada salah pronunciation. Ini itu fair ya, fair, bukan fear. Itu takutnya beda gitu ya. Salah pengucapan bisa salah arti. Habis itu KPK, ini Corruption Eradication Commission ya. Mungkin boleh bilangnya Komisi Pemberantasan Korupsi, tapi nanti jelasin di akhir gitu. It's Indonesian Corruption Eradication Commission. Habis itu nationality test, tes kebangsaan. Hot potato itu adalah topik hangat. Self esteem, harga diri. Kemudian permasalahan ini left handed itu mungkin ada yang nggak paham. Itu left handed tuh kayak dia tuh orang kidal gitu. Jadi tangan utama yang dia gunakan itu adalah tangan kiri. Kalau right handed itu adalah tangan yang bisa dia gunakan adalah tangan kanan seperti itu. Ya, semoga ini bisa meningkatkan capability kita dalam belajar bahasa Inggris. Okay, thank you for the time. And I can see Mr. Kipu still raising his hand. And before we close our discussion today, maybe it's gonna be great for taking picture ya. Okay, I can see you, Mr. Idre, in the pitch.
You are in the weekend, right?
Yeah, and still shiny. Where are you now? In America? Is it America?
In Hawaii Pare.
Away pare. Okay. Okay. Maybe you can show your face, play your video. Okay. What's wrong with you, Mr. Sunshine? I can see your house is on fire. Okay. Well, let's we take picture. Misuchi, you, Erika, and Sophie, do you want to join to take picture together for to comment this discussion? Okay. Under my count, 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, 1. Wait a minute. Okay, once again. Okay, under my count, 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay. Thank you everyone for your time, and hopefully we can consistently keep our pace to learn English together here by enhancing our capability in speaking in this language. I know it's not quite easy as ABC, but we can learn it together and
Where's my
improving
squad?
it
It's not quite easy
to
and
the
busy.
future. And that's all for me. And anyway, we have a yell. When I say Ota, you said yesterday, you said tomorrow, okay? Ota
Okay.
community.
Okay. Yesterday you
Yesterday
said
you say
tomorrow.
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 Bye.
Yay,
See you next
bye-bye.
week,
Bye.
guys.
Thank you
See you
all.
next week. Goodbye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Sohi.